Today, we're listening to and looking at the book The Deaf Musicians by Pete Seeger and Paul Dubois Jacobs. The word deaf means that you are unable to hear. Illustrations by R. Gregory Christie. Lee was a piano man. Every night he would walk on stage at the jazz club to play his piano, snazzy style. It went something like this: plink-a-plink, bump, plink, plink, yimba-timba-tang, zang, zang. But one night, Lee's bandmates noticed something. "Lee, you didn't answer our notes, man. What's wrong?" Lee was almost afraid to tell them. He couldn't hear their notes. He was losing his hearing. His bandmates tried to cover for him, but Lee was just playing off. His music came out like this: ronk, fip, tonk. It wasn't long before the band leader noticed too. "I'm sorry, Lee, but I'll have to let you go. Who will listen to a deaf musician?" Poor Lee. He couldn't hear the trumpet go doodle bop bop, boo bang bang. He couldn't hear the bass go bomba bum bomba bum. That night, riding home on the subway, Lee saw an advertisement for a school for the deaf. "Maybe I can learn how to do something new," he thought. The school turned out to be a very cool place. Lee loved sign language the best. To him, it looked like jazz. He saw hands dancing with a doodle-bop-bop. He saw fingers talking with a boo-bang-bang. He saw bodies moving with a shish-shish-shoogle. "You learn quick," said one young man with his hands. "You must be a musician." "I used to be," said Lee sadly. "Well, stick with me and you'll see," said the young man. "My name's Max and I play the sax." Riding the subway back and forth to school, Lee and Max rapped about their favorite jazz tunes. By using sign language, it was easy to talk over the racket of the subway cars and rush hour crowds. On one ride home, Lee and Max got to playing a song. They found they could follow each other perfectly. Lee played the notes of his piano. Plink-a-plink, bump, plink, plink. Yimba-timba-tang, zang, zang. Max played the notes of his sax. Doodle-bop-bop, boo-bang-a-bing. Each musician heard the music in his own mind. It wasn't long before they were tossing tunes back and forth every day. One evening, a woman came up to them. "I know this song," she signed, fingers aflutter as if playing a stand-up bass. "Bum-ba-bum, bum-ba-bum. I like your style," said Lee. "Will you join our band?" asked Max. The woman laughed. "I'd be honored. The name's Rose." Soon, the trio began to hold regular rehearsals in the subway. But something was missing. "We need a singer," said Lee. "I know just the one," smiled Rose. Her friend Ellie was a sign language interpreter, a translator of sound. Ellie knew all the great jazz standards by heart. Ooh-ah, bidoop, bidoop, ooh-ah-yeah. As the quartet rehearsed, people on the subway started to notice. Startled eyes and ears turned into hand claps and dance steps. Some passengers even missed their stops to stay and watch the musicians a little longer. And Lee, who once thought his jazz life was over, found himself playing for audiences larger than ever before. Night after night, Lee and his band would meet in the subway to perform, snazzy style. One night, while they were playing, Lee's old band leader appeared from out of the crowd. He gestured to Lee. "Your new band is fantastic." The two men shook hands. "Thanks," said Lee. "Remember when you asked me, who will listen to a deaf musician?" "Everyone." So I want to talk to you just a tiny bit about the book, and then you'll have just a couple questions to answer for me attached to your seesaw. So there was a famous composer named Beethoven, Ludwig van Beethoven. And towards the middle of his life, when he was in his 30s, he started to lose his hearing. And a composer, if you'll remember, is somebody who writes music. And so it was so hard for him. It was so hard for him because he was not able to hear what he was writing. He couldn't hear that music. Eventually, he cut the legs off of his piano because when the piano sat on the ground, he could feel the vibrations, the shaking that each different note would make. He wrote lots of his music, which is still well known today, while he was unable to hear, including this piece, which is called Ode to Joy. Listen for just a bit. Head on over to your next section of Seesaw, listen to my words in the next part, and then answer the questions.